name's Spencer Hickman and I own and run Death Waltz recording company. Limited edition vinyl soundtrack releases of kind of movies that I just really love and scores that I love. To do a label like this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it's something that you can never pass up. So I guess that those movies have always stuck with me, and the soundtracks to those films were like really weird at the time. I always think that the music, if I'm going to release it, it needs to be good enough to stand alone. So you can listen to it as a whole piece of music, you can listen to both sides, turn it over. You're not flicking through tracks. And the cover and getting new artwork done by artists that I feel match the music is a way to sort of say that the soundtrack is different from the actual film. It's not a DVD cover, it's not a Blu-ray. You know, this is a standalone piece of music that should evoke the feel of the film, but also be slightly different to what you're used to. Not only do I get to work with John Carpenter and release The Fog and get to release the original soundtrack album, but then also a full disc of unreleased cues. I also, in some weird kind of way through friends of friends, met Dinos Chapman. He's a massive horror fan and he grew up watching all these movies, the same as me. And someone said, Dinos would totally do like a cover for you. And you kind of, you know, when someone says that, you just sort of laugh and go, yeah, all right. And then before I knew it, I was off to meet him at the studio, and we got on, and he really liked what I'd done. I took him samples of everything we'd released, and he was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I knew I kind of wanted to push the boat out a little bit, so we've had like a screen printing over bag done for it. That's Dinos' artwork there. The inner sleeve is a scan of the back of the paper that Dinos delivered the artwork on. So, and you kind of wouldn't know that. So it's got all this weird writing on it. It's like this really old piece of paper, there you go, that he did the pencil drawing on. But I just thought it's really nice. So one of them is this kind of like splattery effect, white and blue. Because like in a movie there's a lot of green, but also when they're in the church there's like quite a lot of blues in there. And then the other disc is like these haze effects, which I like, really love these effects. And this is like totally The Fog. So you've got that. So the idea was that with the label is that the records match the film and the music, and it all kind of comes together as a full package, really. The soundtrack to Tourist Trap is Pino D'Asagio, who did all the Brian De Palma movies. This is a really low budget, like really creepy film about mannequins. It's a really scary soundtrack. But the cover is like, that tells you everything you need to know about that soundtrack. Kind of can't really do this without having a John Carpenter release, and lots of the old John Carpenter soundtracks just used the poster to the movies, but this version of The Thing didn't. It changed it up a little bit, so it's kind of got a more unique kind of cover. And I guess it's kind of an interesting soundtrack because it's Morricone doing Carpenter, which is really weird. It sounds nothing like anything else Morricone ever did. It's one of my favourite films, The Shining. This uses artwork that's not really used a lot anywhere else. Like the main title by Wendy Carlos is just like absolutely frightening. It's fairly terrible, but it's by H.G. Lewis, and it's a double bill of Blood Feast and 2000 Maniacs. Basically, Blood Feast was like the first splatter movie ever made. The soundtrack's just this hilarious kind of drum that just bangs once every 3 minutes or something. It's ridiculous. And then his second film is 2000 Maniacs, which is actually a really good soundtrack. There's like 2 really good songs, like actual proper good songs on there. This is the soundtrack to The Burning by Rick Wakeman. And I love this sleeve because whoever did this didn't just take, because back in the 80s people would just take the movie poster and slap it on a record. That's why I always wanted to do something different with that. But the soundtrack's awesome. It's like fully 80s synth with little bits of, you know, Rick Wakeman when he goes, like he just goes mad, but not too much of that. This one is Friday the 13th. It's cut, but you know, this is quite rare because it's like 3D sleeve. And so these are taken from the first 3 Friday the 13th films, the tracks on this. But there's one track and it's the main theme to Friday the 13th Part 3, which is like an absolute disco banger. It's amazing. Like, you could play it out anywhere. This is, I guess, uniquely British, came out on That's Entertainment. And the original poster, her throat is cut and there's blood. But the British censors wouldn't allow that because they thought it was too much. And it's like proper Italio prog disco. I'm pretty sure most people know the score to this because it's just a classic. Dr. Phibes, which stars Vincent Price. It's like this really odd score with this kind of crooner on top. But that cover is like, that is just like amazing. Slumber Party Massacre, which is really quite rare, is on Web Records. And the only instruments on this are a Casio Tone MT30, which is one of those like tiny kids Casios, some cymbals and crystal glasses. That's it. And it's ridiculous. I'm actually reissuing this for Halloween. Forbidden World, which is on the same label, Web Records. And this is a soundtrack to a really poor Roger Corman rip-off of Alien. It's amazing. No one knows it, but it's the most awesome electro, like proper, so good. Look at the robot. It's just it's pretty. You know, it's quite a funny film.